What's good, everybody? Welcome back. My name's Peter. This is the show, Hauling Ashcan. This is the next episode, the one that comes after the one that already came out last week or 2 weeks ago or whenever. I'm just kind of putting these out here and there, all over the place whenever I have the time and whenever I have new stuff that I've bought, which is the case today. I actually have a whole bunch of stuff from a few different trips to different places, different locations, different shops and antique stores and things like that. So, I figured we just put them all into one video because not really enough in each of them individually to make a whole episode. So we're just going to do the whole stack. And I saved the best for first, so let's just get right into it. First issue we have, this is Batman number 444, Stalking the Crimesmith, written by Marv Wolfman. If you've kept track of stuff I've talked about on this exact show before, you know that Marv Wolfman's Batman is like my era of Batman. This is stuff I've been trying to collect forever. And this one actually, this is not a piece of the collection that I didn't have. This is a issue that I already had. This is the first ever Batman issue I owned as a kid. But the copy that I have, the cover is like completely detached. I just have read it to death. It's just almost, disintegrated, right? So very beat up. So I thought it'd be a good idea to get a fresh copy, get something that looks nice, it's in better shape. And I saw this at a comic store just the other day, and it was only $4. And maybe that's a little more than I would spend on a non-key Batman issue most of the time. But I thought it was great to be able to round out the collection in that way, have a duplicate copy. And I did recently finish my entire run of Wolfman Batman stuff. So now I have all of it. And then I have 2 copies of this one. So I'd say that's a win across the board. All right, let's move further into the stack here. What do we got? Okay, so next one is Dreadstar number 1 by Jim Starlin. I'm a big Jim Starlin fan. You guys might know if you're subscribers, fans, followers of this show and what I've done here. I met Starlin a couple months ago. I made a video all about his work and the death of Captain Marvel and a bunch of stuff like that. And he mentioned at a panel at Ontario, Comic-Con Revolution in Ontario, that he has kind of free reign to do whatever he wants at Marvel, and he chooses instead to write and draw Dreadstar by himself, which I respect a lot. I think that's a very cool move, that he is just, making his own thing that he actually likes and that he's interested in and that he can control. Even though he could be writing Thanos stories and other stuff like that for Marvel, he's down to just make his own stuff, and I think that's cool. So this is kind of just like a bucket list issue. I think a lot of people have this comic. They printed a whole bunch when they first came out, and it's just neat to have. I like the cover. It's kind of an unconventional design here. Obviously, the whole title and everything is askew. It's the first ever issue published by Epic Comics, which I think is neat. Just very, very cool to have. I think I'm excited to read it. I have not read Dreadstar at all, and I'm excited to sit down to read it. I might try to get some sort of collected edition and read everything from the run, but I think for now I'll just stick with issue 1, which thematically ties into the next issue we have here. The next one is Jim Starlin Breed, also issue 1. This is a fun cover. Obviously, this is from the era that a lot of comics fans dislike, I think, of kind of gimmicky, either foil covers or holographic covers, or they're, cut out, die cut covers, or just stuff like that, stuff that might be a little bit for sales only, not really for artistic merit. But I still think this one's cool. You cannot see it on camera. I tried to capture it the other day and I couldn't get it at all, but there's a full silhouette of a guy on here holding a knife that's got blood all over it. Very scary, very cool. It's Jim Starlin, right? So for me, at least, that's an automatic buy if it's a good cover and if it's something I'm interested in reading. And I am interested in reading this one. I'm going to check it out and see what it's like, and then from there, kind of decide. Decide if I'm interested in reading more of Breed and some of other work by Starlin, some of his independent work. So yeah. Let's keep moving. We got kind of a big stack today. It's kind of a bunch of stuff in one place, so I don't want to waste too much time. I want to just get right through it. Next one. Okay, Vision and the Scarlet Witch, issue 1. Weirdly, actually, this is the second duplicate book that I'm showing you today. I already own this. I have a direct edition of this, but this is a newsstand, and it's in pretty nice shape. The wrap is kind of bad. The stapling's a little bit off here, so it's not an amazing copy, but it looks a little bit brighter colors than the copy that I currently have. The one I have, I think, is maybe a little sun-faded. I'm not sure. But my reason for this was really like kind of spec. Obviously, it would have been great to have this book right before WandaVision came out, when this was really like, this book was the book they were adapting. Not directly in like a plot way, but in, adapting their relationship, Vision and the Scarlet Witch, into one book. So I do wish that I had them both at the time, and I would have quickly flipped them and sold them. But this is issue 1. It's a 12-issue. I think it's a 12-issue series, maybe a 8-issue series. And I already have it. So I'm just going to keep an eye on it on eBay and stuff like that. And I know they're supposed to be making a Vision TV show down the line. So if that has anything to do with Wanda and with Scarlet Witch, then who knows? We may have an opportunity there. I might be able to toss this stuff up and get rid of it. And at the very least, I think it's just a cool cover. It's kind of fun. It's from an odd era of design with these characters. They hadn't really been modernized. They hadn't added a lot of stuff that the characters would eventually adopt when they were both Avengers, and just design choices on their costumes. But it's not exactly the old style. Like, there's some changes from their original design. So I like it. It's kind of a fun piece of Marvel history here. All right, next one. What do we got? Okay, so this I thought was pretty funny. This is the official Marvel Index 2 Marvel team-up featuring Spider-Man, issue 1. And obviously we have Marvel on the cover here. We have Human Torch. We have Vision. We have Spider-Man. This is just a funny one to me because one of the ways I know that, any comic publisher is going to sell extra books and get stuff off the racks is by kind of marking it in a way that maybe tricks you a little bit into thinking you're buying a certain series when you're not. You're buying maybe the index to that series, you're buying the official guide to that series, or you're buying a reprint of an issue 1 or something like that. So in this case, Marvel Team Up featuring Spider-Man, very prominent series, ran for a very long time, had Spider-Man teaming up with a ton of different people, including Marvel, Human Torch, Vision, all these characters, right? But this, to bring that to the front of the newsstand and have it be issue 1 again, they can just call it the official Marvel Index 2 Marvel Team Up featuring Spider-Man. So a very casual reader, maybe somebody who's getting into this stuff for the first time, is going to see it and say, oh, this is Marvel Team Up issue 1. Featuring Spider-Man, and they grab it and they find out it's mostly text, and it's just a guide to how to read Marvel Team Up featuring Spider-Man. I think that's funny. It's just a weird niche piece of Marvel Comics history, and DC does the same thing. I mean, there's all the publishers have these guide to or the history of, and it's just a compilation book or it's just reprints and things like that. And I think they're cool, but they're also clearly a way to bump up some sales numbers by reprinting stuff they know people want to buy. So that's that. All right, next book. Okay, so the next book is Fantastic Four Unplugged, issue 4. So this is funny. Until recently, I was not aware that Fantastic Four Unplugged was anything more than a one-shot. I had issue 1, which is that amazing cover with the Thing on it. There's like some blue highlights. It's a really cool cover. And I thought it was one-shot. Now that I think about it, I don't know that I ever read that one. So maybe had I read it, I would have been like, oh, it's clearly leading to a bigger story here, and it's 4 or 5 parts. But I just thought this was neat. It's a really great painted Torch cover, and I just think it's neat. So I think if I can get the rest of these, I looked them up on CLZ on the app, and the covers for Reed and Sue are kind of underwhelming. Like they're not the same exact style as this. They don't have that like clean white background. So I don't know how eager I am to pick up the rest of them just from a design perspective, because I don't think they're like the most amazing thing ever. But who knows? If I see them and if it's the right price, I'm sure I'll grab them just to have the rest of the set of this series. So this is Fantastic Four Unplugged number 4. I like this a lot. I always like too with the Fantastic Four stuff. They really have kept highlighting the price on series for a long time, like up until like probably the early 2010s or maybe just the late aughts. They were still marking the price on these covers, like still $150 or like still 99 cents, still whatever. And I like that because I think there should be part of the world of comics that isn't entirely dictated by what's the standard price of an issue. Obviously, right now it's kind of a huge mess. Like prices have gone through the roof. You're spending $4 an issue, $5 if it has more than the standard number of pages, which I feel like is got to be the easiest way to discourage people from buying comics, right? If I go in and I'm a kid and I have $15, like I could go to the dollar bins where I assume the shop does not make a huge profit on those, and I can get 15 comic books there, or I can go to the new stuff and I can buy 3. Like that's an easy decision for any kid. And if you want kids to start reading comics and you want that to be part of your demographic, which for longevity you do, whether or not you maybe think that the audience is not there or that the stuff that people want to buy is all for adults now, that's fine. But you do eventually want kids to be buying this because eventually kids are going to be adults. And like, it just does not seem like a good idea to keep raising the prices on new stuff. And I don't, some of us can afford to buy the couple of series, but I personally have stopped buying series altogether that I might be interested in reading, but it's like, I'm not going to spend $4 or $5 a month to hope that this is good. If it is good and I find out that it's good, maybe I'll buy the trade paperback. But even then, it's like $20 for 4 or 5 issues. It's just the cost is not there. And I know the thing is, this does kind of annoy me. I know that the trade paperback prices are inflated because you see like Image and IDW print stuff that is bigger, glossier, more pages, all this stuff for cheaper than what Marvel and DC publish at the same thing. So let's say $40, right? $40, you can get like a hardcover book from IDW or from Image, and sure, okay, it's not Spider-Man, it's not the Punisher, it's not Captain America, it's not Batman, whatever. But like, if you read the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, if you read Spawn, if you read any of those series, like, you can get a way better value for your money. The fact that the compendiums for like The Walking Dead and Invincible and Saga and all those from Image are $60 when that's easily $100 book, easily, from Marvel or DC at that size and the paper quality and all that stuff. Like, to me, that's unreal. I can't believe that still happens, and that they don't realize that is specifically what's going to kill their long-term customer base, because you print the collected editions of stuff. Whoever's going to buy them is going to buy them. Then they're going to be sold, and whatever. Once everyone who wants one, then they're done. But your new stuff that's coming out, if you are not keeping that at an affordability level where people can get into it, there's a stepping stone. They can get on board with the first couple issues. Then maybe they'll spend more. If you're not doing that, then you're going to lose them. You are going to lose that. And this is an aside, but also, your paper quality is horrible. Marvel's paper quality is abysmal. So you're paying more for less pages with more ads with less paper quality. And the frustrating thing is, the only reason they're able to do that is because they have the characters that they have. Because they have Spider-Man, they can just do that. And what are you going to do? There's no way around it, I think it's kind of ridiculous. Obviously, it's all been monopolized. DC has a little bit of an improvement. Their paper quality is a little bit better. They print some better oversized stuff, like the artwork in general. But even then, like, as time goes on, I know people read DC. I read some DC, but also, like, you've got your big three, your Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman. You've got a few other titles here and there. But, like, I literally think because the movie landscape with DC has not been as super prominent and not as super successful from a fan perspective, they have less people coming and getting into their other characters. Like, the fact that Marvel can do right now, like a Moon Knight ongoing series that's actually, people are actually buying it. The Fantastic Four series is actually doing well, is getting like second prints, people are buying. Like, the fact that that's happening is a testament to the fact that people are actually interested in the other characters that haven't been on screen in the Marvel movies. That isn't really happening with DC. There are a few characters, but like, it's not. So even them, they're the print business for them is also drying up. So it's just sad all around, and who knows how it'll all work out. Anyway, long detour from Fantastic Four Unplugged number 4. Let's go to the next issue here. All right, this is X-Men 163. This is a great Gambit cover. I'm a big fan of this cover. I think it looks really cool. It's kind of iconic. I mean, I've seen it reprinted a few other places, and it's very neat. When I brought it up to the counter at the antique store where I was buying stuff, the old lady was like checking out everything, and she looks at it, and she like flips through, and then she goes back to this, and she's like, wow, does look like he's having a great time. And that's true. I don't think any of us would be having a great time without our eyes. But this is an interesting issue for me because totally by 100% pure coincidence, I buy this issue just based on the cover. Okay, looks cool. I like Gambit. Who knows? If Channing Tatum Gambit is in Deadpool 3, then I'll put this on eBay. Probably not. I actually probably want to keep it because I like the cover. But who knows? I thought, oh, this is neat. All right, I'll buy it. I get home. Now, in my comic collecting history, I might have mentioned this before, but I'm not an X-Men reader. Like, it's not by hatred. It's just by I have never gotten into it. I've just never gone down that route. And I know there are some amazing stories, and maybe one day I'll start doing that once I run out of other stuff to read, right? The X-Men stuff I've just never really gotten into, but I own one issue of X-Men. I guess I do have like a reprint X-Men 1 from the 60s, but I don't have any like regular X-Men issues. And I own one issue. That issue is 164. So I buy this 163. I don't even look at the number, had no idea what number it was. I get it home. I own one other X-Men issue in my entire collection. I go to add this to my collection app, and I find out that I own the issue right after this. And those are the only two X-Men issues I own. So total success, I think. I think that's hilarious. I think that's great. So that issue is like a Wolverine Sabretooth cover. It's cool. I like it, but it's, I mean, again, I got it in like a blind box of comics when I was probably 12 or 13. So I've just had it forever, maybe read it a few times, but I have no idea what the context is. I don't know the story. So, so now I own 163 and 164. I own two sequential X-Men issues and no other X-Men, which is great. Okay, next one. Okay, next one. This is The Thing, Freak Show, Icons, one of four. This is a 4-part series. I don't own any of the other ones, but if there's anything I'm a sucker for, it's a great cover where The Thing, Ben Grimm, takes up the entire thing. The Alex Ross Timeless cover is a lot like that. His other Fantastic Four cover that he did for the current series, it's like a black and white, like waist up portrait of the Thing. You got Fantastic Four Unplugged, issue 1. That's a fantastic cover. There's just a lot of covers that people have done this with, and I love them all. I think they're all pretty fantastic. And so for me, at least, the dream one day is I have like a statue, like an action figure, and just do a display of all these great covers with the Thing. I think that'd be neat. And this is a great one. This is a great book to contribute to it. The Thing, Freak Show, issue 1. All right, next book. Okay, next book. The first and probably only issue of Alpha Flight I will ever own. I don't read this. I have no interest in reading it, but I can't resist a good Galactus cover. Galactus is great. I have some weird, obscure Galactus covers, and I've tried to find more of them as time goes on, and I love them, and they're very cool. This one is very fun. Takes up the entire background. Reminds me a lot of Cyberspace 3000 issue 1, which is another great Galactus cover. If I remember, I'll put that on screen, one of these, wherever. And it is very similar, I think, with the typeface, the face taken up here, the people around the bottom. It's just neat. And you've got Firestorm and some other, Guardians of the Galaxy and Hercules and stuff like that. So I guess that might be Vision. I don't know. I'd have to read the issue to see who that actually is. But yeah, I don't read Alpha Flight. I probably will never crack this open, but it's issue 99 and it has Galactus here. And I thought that was neat. I thought it was neat and nice. So let's go to the next one. Shadow of the Bat. All right, this is Shadow of the Bat, The Last Arkham by Alan Grant and Norm Breyfogle, issue 1. I just bought it because it was a cool cover, actually, believe it or not. Sometimes I do that. I know I've hinted at it over time, but yes, my secret is exposed. Sometimes I don't buy them for the story just because the cover looks cool. And I have a decent amount of Batman. I've bought a lot of Batman over the course of the last year. I really didn't prior to that, but I've been getting into buying more of it. And I just like this. I like the red border. And, if it's an issue 1, at least for me, I think, okay, I'll buy it. I'll read it. If I like it, then I know whether or not I would be interested in getting other issues of this series. Most of the time, that's not the case. I buy it, I read it, I'm like, it's okay, but I'm not really hooked, whatever. There's a few, obviously, if you read like Snyder Capullo's Batman, that's incredible. One of the best Batman stories ever. And, from issue 1, you're like, I'm on board with this. I want to know, But even like Legends of the Dark Knight, I like that series. It is good. I think the first like 25 issues, but you got to get into it a little bit. Like I don't think it hit the ground with like the most speed. I think it hit the ground as a seller collector item with the color variant covers. And then they were like, well, I guess we got to have a good story in here too. And the story is okay, but it's not my favorite, but I appreciate it. So maybe this will be the same. I'll have to check it out. Okay, next one. This is 2 books. I'm actually very excited about this. This is Deathlock. This is book 1, and then this is book 4. These are some of my favorite Marvel Comics covers. I also like, and I hope I can get this on camera, these are like, there's printing on the spine with these. These are like as thick as a regular book, like a little graphic novel. So one of the things I really like is when a series is heavy enough as a book that in the long term I'd be able to put it on a bookshelf and not just put it in a box or bagged and boarded somewhere. So this is absolutely that. Like the 1, 2, 3, 4, once I get them all together, that's like the size of a decent book. You can put this on a shelf. They have spine printing so you can actually see what it says. And this is the first appearance of Deathlock, which I didn't even know until I should say not. There is I had to do a little more research to make sure, but the Michael Collins version of Deathlock, this is his first appearance, and it's very cool. I'm a big fan. I think the artwork on this is just beautiful. I'm very excited to read these. I have not taken the time to read them yet. I just bought them the other day, but yeah, really just fantastic. The artwork here is just great, and obviously we have that homage to the original Deathlock appearance, that cover appearance, which I can't remember the name and issue of off the top of my head, but it's it's an homage to that, and I really like that. So it's very neat. I'm a big fan of Deathlock's design, and there's a great late in what was originally Todd McFarlane's Spider-Man book that became just Eric Larson and whoever else wanted to work on Spider-Man. Later in his book after Todd left, there is a Deathlock Spider-Man cover where Spider-Man's got a bunch of the cyborg parts. And I think as a kid, that was probably my first knowledge of Deathlock as a character. And then I would see him in the trading card collections. I used to have a bunch of trading card collections, Marvel Comics, and I would see Deathlock and be like, that dude just looks so cool. Like, I got to get some of this. So now I own 1 and 4. Okay, I don't have a ton of time here, so I'm just going to burn through a few of these here. Yeah, this is an easy one. This is Pitt #1, ripping first issue. You got to own this. Everybody has to own this. Don't worry, there's one for everybody. There's probably 5 for everyone alive who would want to buy this, who would want to own a 90s comic like this. Yeah, so Pitt #1, just have to have. It's like a Spawn one. It's like everybody owns it. You just put it in a box, and it's just there. And hey, you know what? Who knows? Nothing's impossible at this point. If Pitt becomes a HBO Max show or something, millions of dollars right here. I'm putting it all online. Okay, next up, Warlock versus the Magus. This is Warlock issue 3. Still working on finishing out my entire Warlock series and set of books. I have quite a few of them. Love this Thanos cover. More Jim Starlin. Beautiful stuff. Love the blue background. Excuse me. And yeah, it's just very cool. I'm a big fan of this. So finishing this out, I think I only have like 3 more issues and I'll be done. Okay, next is 2 in a row here. This is Hulk 2099 2 and 3. So 2 and 3. So I have issue 1. I think I have issue 1 of almost every 2099 book. I probably need Ghost Rider. I think that's the only one I don't have, which I think was printed a little bit separately than the rest of them. I think it was printed later. But I have, Doom and Punisher and Ravage and Spider-Man, obviously, and Hulk, and 2099 Unlimited. And love them, but I've never read the Hulk 2099. I've read the other ones, and surprisingly, Ravage 2099, kind of an underrated book. Maybe I'll do a video on that in the future because it was, if I'm remembering correctly, which I think I am, the first issue at least was written by Stan Lee, which is hilarious to me because they had Spider-Man, the Punisher, the Hulk, like characters that Stan would have been extremely familiar with that they adapted to 2099, and he didn't write those. He wrote Ravage 2099, which I think is hilarious. But, it's an interesting piece of comics history. I probably should do a video on 2099, or at least Ravage, because I have probably the first, 30 issues of that, and they're pretty good. I mean, they're not as bad as people like to think about 2099, but there's that. All right. 1998 annual, Fantastic Four. I think I have another annual here, another 1998 annual, Avengers and Squadron Supreme, and Fantastic Four. These are funny. The organization of annual issues for Marvel has always been a huge mess. Like, they don't put one out every year for every series by any means. Sometimes it's inside the series, or it's a special extra double-size issue. Sometimes over the course of their publication history, they've changed and pivoted on that so many times. It's like the numbering. It's just a huge mess, and it took me forever to find these in CLZ trying to plug in the series. I ended up just scanning the barcode because that's easier or whatever. I like to find stuff though, because sometimes by plugging in with the series, I'll find stuff I didn't know existed. But this is just, I don't know, an interesting piece of it. But also, great cover. The Thing, obviously, taking up most of the page there. So that'll probably go on a display one day. And then Squadron Supreme. I have the Squadron Supreme Omnibus, and I love those characters. So excited to get that. Ultimate Fantastic Four 1. Not much to say here. I'm trying to get a full run of this because I like the Fantastic Four. That's a lot of what I have. And I got almost the first 15 issues out of a 50-cent bin a couple months ago, except issue 1. So I got this for $1.50. Thought that was worth it. Ultimate Daredevil and Elektra. Very cool. I love Daredevil, and this is just a neat cover, kind of liminal white space here. Probably completely worthless. I don't think it's actually worth anything. But Danny Mickey did work on it, and I love Danny. I met him a couple months back. Very cool guy, and he's worked on some dope stuff. So who knows? Maybe they'll adapt this in the Daredevil Born Again show. I talk a lot about how I'm not someone who does spec, and I don't sell books based on movies and TV shows. I don't buy stuff just to sell, but I'm also open as that stuff happens. You never know. You never know. Not going to turn down unexpected money. Silver Surfer Annual. I've got a few of these. Silver Surfer Annual 4, 5, and then a polybagged 6. These are fantastic. I have the first 30 or so issues of this Silver Surfer series. So it's very cool to have these annuals. They look great. Yeah, love the Silver Surfer annuals. They're very cool, oversized. This has Guardians of the Galaxy in number 4. Got Doctor Strange. We got a desaturated Namor. We got that era where the Hulk looked horrible. This is like, yeah, I don't know if this is showing up right on camera, but the Hulk used to look so weird and messed up for like years at a time. And it's hilarious, and I love it. So I am excited to have that annual that he's got. It's a 64-page. Yeah, it's the Return of the Defenders, which I have a few other annuals that came out this year. And also with this one, the Korvac Quest, I have the Korvac Saga trade paperback. So it's fun because this might be in there, this might not. But all these tie-ins, you know, there's like the Atlantis battle and like Armor Wars. And I liked when all the annuals would come out and they would all tie into one series. And they don't really do that. They do like a series that then a bunch of stuff will have tie-ins. Like Murder World with Marvel just happened and they did a bunch of stuff with that. And I got the Moon Knight one. Do not waste your money. Huge ripoff of an issue. But yeah, it's just I like when they used to do that. They used to tie everything in. And then we got this one, which is not tied in with anything, but it's got Legacy, this character here, who I believe is the son of Mar-Vell. I think that's the premise here. Great Ron Lim cover. Obviously, Ron's work is impeccable, immaculate, as always. And then it's polybagged. So in here, we have a trading card of Legacy. So I don't know. I might tear it open. I think it might be fun to have that card. But I also like it polybagged. Weirdly enough, the app, CLZ does not recognize, at least at the time of me recording this, they may have patched it by then, but does not recognize this book because it's a direct edition, but it's polybagged. They only have newsstand polybagged as an option. Now, I could be wrong, and maybe this is the newsstand, like maybe the printed direct edition, but if it's polybagged, it's newsstand. But I don't think so. I think that there would have been a polybagged version of both, and this is the direct edition. But I just put it in as I think I just put it in as a direct edition because I would rather have that correct in case I take it out of the bag. But interesting. Okay, Snyder Capullo, Batman 27. I only have a few. I think this is the third cover I have. I have like one of the Court of Owls covers. This was $2. I just thought it looked neat. I love Capullo's covers, man. He's just like, he brought something to the series that it really needed. I feel like when you look at a Neil Adams cover and there's like an emotional weight to his Batman covers and all his Batman work, and it feels so like there's so much gravity and like body and humanity to it. Capullo's covers are totally opposite. They're very abstract. They're usually like there's some symbolism. They're like out there, but to me at least, like they're so striking. They're so distinct. And I think if they only had the forethought to not print them with the stupid New 52 logo, because obviously that crashed and burned, these would be like perfect. So like Virgin variants of these to me are like the epitome of a Batman cover. They're so good. So yeah, I love these, and I like this cover a lot. It's very weird. I've read the first 2 volumes of the paperbacks of Snyder Capullo's Batman, and I just got the last 4. So I will be reading 3, 4, 5, and 6 and catching up on all that. And I'm very excited to do that. I mean, it's some of the most exciting Batman stuff I think that's ever been written. It's hard to find anything in the modern era that's as good, I think. I could be wrong. Please leave recommendations for good Batman arcs down in the comments. You know, I've read a lot, but I also want to read a lot more. And preferably something that's a collected story, you know, that I can just buy a book and read the whole thing. Because I like, with Batman stories especially, I like it. It's kind of, you can get through it like a detective story and read the whole thing, which is always fun. Okay, next one, here we go. Doctor Strange, issue 42. This was $3. This is more than I should have paid for a book like this. It's a non-key, it's whatever. But obviously, Galactus. So I had to buy it. It's just a rule. I show up, I walk in the store, they have comic books. They have Galactus on the cover. Cha-ching, wallet comes out. It's just too easy for them to pull me in like that. And this is no different. This is a great Doctor Strange cover. It reminds me of the Doctor Strange movie where he fights Dormammu and he kind of shows up and he's real small and he's talking to him, whatever. But I liked that. This is also from Cyberspace 3000, I believe, that they use the Enter Galactus. Oh, you know what? No, I think it's from... I think it's from an issue of like the New Mutants or something. There's a series that they had, or X Factor or something. It's a Chris Claremont book. That's all I remember. And I think it has this same Galactus logo on here for him appearing. So yeah, I like this. It's also an Infinity War crossover. I don't really read or buy Doctor Strange. I have just never gotten into it. I think I have like the paperback Essentials collection of it, of Doctor Strange, like maybe volume 1 or volume 2. But so all the work is great, and anything Steve Ditko did, obviously incredible. But I just have not spent any time reading him. I did read some stuff like a year or two ago that came out, like Death of Doctor Strange. I was reading that when that was coming out. It was okay. I think that a lot of Marvel stuff has either gone cosmic or really like grounded real world. And because of that, there's no avenue for magic stuff. They don't have like a really defined path. And also Marvel publication is really, really like underprepared to deal with the demand that movies and shows will bring on. Like they don't publish according to what the movies are. They don't capitalize on it enough at all. When Miss Marvel came out, there was no Miss Marvel series running, which to me is like shocking that is not happening. Like even a low budget or like a limited series or anything, like that kids are going to watch that show and then go to a comic book store with their parents, or their dad's going to be like, oh, let's go to the Comic-Con because you would like not having a current running series that you could guarantee you will sell because the show came out is shocking to me. But they do it somehow. I don't know, but yeah, it's weird that they don't. And they did the same with Doctor Strange. They've had all these movies and stuff, and they kill him in continuity like a couple months around the time that his second movie comes out. It's like, how stupid do you have to be to think that is the sales tactic, that people are going to go to their comic shop and be like, yeah, that movie was pretty good, or I didn't like the movie. Like, let me go see what the comics are doing right now. And he just doesn't exist. He's dead. There's no running series. That's crazy to me. I do not understand that, but. Anyway, Galactus cover, love it. All right, and this is the last one, I guess. This is 4 issues in one. I'm not going to take them out because I'm lazy. This is the Brotherhood, issues 1 through 4. I think there's like 8 issues in this series. So I had no idea this existed until I picked it up, and it was $3 for a set of 4. So the cost per issue obviously was great, and I thought, all right, well, it's 4 issues in a row. Like I can't really lose here because even if it's not enjoyable, I paid so little per issue to get 4. Then I might as well try it out. So I'm interested to read this one. It doesn't. I mean, obviously aesthetically, it looks a lot different than anything that was coming out at the time. At the time, it's like early 2000s, I think, when Marvel would have been pretty glammed up in that really glossy kind of Hulk, Wolverine, Spider-Man era. Probably prior to Civil War, so probably. 2004, 2005 would be my guess. That's my estimate, but I haven't looked at the publication date. But yeah, it's just interesting. I'm interested to see how these first 4 issues play out and if they're worth reading and what the plot is. Obviously, since that's most of the reason to read a story is what is the plot. Yeah, so that's that. That's the recent haul. That's the stuff that I've got. Within the last few days or weeks here. I have another set of stuff that I might do another episode of this on. But I really am just interested in feedback. Like let me know down in the comments if this format, is fun, enjoyable, works for you, if you like watching it. I'm not saying I'm going to take your advice because, I'm the guy making this stuff. I get to decide. But, it might be interesting just to mess with some other stuff. And pretty soon, within the next few months, I'll be kind of switching up some format stuff in a great way. I'll have access to my entire collection, half of which is in storage right now. So that'll change the dynamic of what I'm able to do with these videos and with the channel in general. And so so this is exciting stuff, and hopefully onto bigger and better things. So if you enjoy this, I do all the YouTube stuff. I don't need to tell you how to like and subscribe and whatever, all that stuff. But just let me know if you're enjoying. If you're following along, if you're having a good day, if you're having a bad day, whatever. And I will see you soon. This is Hauling Ashcan. My name's Peter. Bye.